Nobody would blame you for falling head over heels for this former idol, but despite becoming one of the most well-known faces within Japan, she was struggling with something that made it hard for her to put on a smile. In this episode of Otaku Files, we talk about the misunderstood blonde bombshell that is Mogami Moga. Most of us outside of Japan may not be aware of some of the more interesting personalities within the Japanese otaku landscape, so I thought I'd do a little video series and try to shed some light on these individuals. This is Otaku Files. Those that know Mogami Moga may know her from her time in the Akihabara-based idol group Dempagumi.inc, or her stunning beauty being on the cover of numerous magazines. She is also known for having her fair share of haters, but there is a lot more to Moga than you might think, and hopefully through this video you might come to know a bit more about her. Moga is from Tokyo. When she was little, she was very active, taking classes for piano, ballet, swimming, and ikebana, the Japanese art of flower arranging. Apparently, she wanted to work as a florist, which is why she took up ikebana. And for those that want to know, her ikebana school was Adachi-ryu. Being a florist was her plan up until around high school, where she thought, yeah, this won't work out as a career. But she did continue practicing ikebana as a hobby. In elementary school, Moga loved going to her local library and would spend ages reading a variety of books, but particularly liked fantasy books, including Harry Potter. She also loved reading manga and fell in love with 3x3 Eyes, which, as many of you would know, is a pretty famous manga series, but not exactly one for elementary school kids. Moga also had a interesting nickname, Kyobo Onna, which directly translated means ferocious woman. Apparently, she didn't like wearing skirts as a kid and preferred shorts or trousers, or what Americans would call pants. When boys from the local neighborhood would say something mean to her, she would get into physical fights with them. As a result, up until the end of elementary school, she was called Kyobo Onna. In middle school, she joined the basketball club thinking that it would be fun, but unfortunately she would also join another club that many of the other idols I have covered had also joined, the Being Bullied Club. Yes, it seems that there were some in the basketball club that were not that fond of Moga. Despite her feelings towards going to school turning quite negative, Moga tried to toughen it out, remaining with the basketball club despite the bullying. But things ended up getting a little worse. During her second school year, there was a teacher who she didn't really get along with and would often tell her off. That same teacher would become the one in charge of her basketball club. Yikes. So she would be getting bullied and also told off every day. Needless to say, she started hating going to school. However, this would also lead Moga to trying to find some sort of outlet, which she managed to find with online gaming, and through online gaming she was able to make online friends. As I've covered in a previous video, socializing within online communities is pretty popular with hikikomori and isn't usually something you'd recommend for young kids, but for Moga it became her sanctuary, and she could also find those within her same age group. With people online, you didn't really need to show your face, and it was fairly easy to make some sort of online persona to help build simple relationships. For Moga, this felt really comfortable. Games she used to make online friends with included the children-orientated game Post Pet. But the first online game, or netoge in Japanese, that she started playing was Ragnarok Online, a very popular MMORPG. Through Ragnarok Online, she met loads of different people, like CEOs and university students that helped her learn new things. School may have sucked, but when she got home, there was netoge waiting for her. After her crappy experience with middle school, Moga wanted to go to a high school where no one else from her middle school would choose, so she decided to enter a school of fine arts. Besides wanting to dodge former classmates, she was actually really into art, and in fact her grandfather was even a professional painter. Oh, and another reason that Moga decided to go into a school of fine arts is that she just hated studying and considers herself not really great at it, probably because she wouldn't pay attention in class. Then again, she probably was just more of the creative type anyway. However, she knew how difficult it was to try and draw for a living, something her teacher during her second year would enforce by saying, "Don't think you guys can live off drawing. Life ain't that easy." Yeah, that's how you should motivate your students. Despite all that, Moga actually did pretty well during high school and was able to graduate. After high school, she went to a junior school with her major being oil painting, but as previously mentioned, she wasn't thinking of doing art as a career. So after graduating, she ended up becoming a NEET. However, she wasn't the only one in the family experiencing difficulties. In fact, her older brother was actually a hikikomori. Also, due to his company restructuring, her father would end up losing his job. up. This would lead to her parents fighting with each other every day, with her mother crying every night. Out of everyone in the family, it seems our NEET was quote-unquote the most normal, and as a result, she was told to get a job. So she did, and that's actually what led her to becoming an idol. One of the temporary jobs she had gotten was handing out free samples, and she just so happened to be handing out free samples of the Japanese confectionery dorayaki at a convention where the producer of Dempagumi.inc happened to be attending. The producer ended up asking Moga if she would be interested in joining, since someone was going to quit and they just happened to be looking for new members. Unlike many of the other idols I have covered, Moga actually didn't have any dreams of being an idol, but with how bad things were going at home, thinking that she had to be the one to work, but not wanting to go through a company's whole application process, she thought that this would be a good chance for her since Dempagumi.inc didn't even ask for a resume. However, as some of you might already know, the idol path is not an easy one, and unfortunately it seems that in the beginning at least, Moga was labeled as the one with a striking appearance, but also strikingly bad at singing. It seems the inclusion of Moga to the group had created a sort of divide among Dempagumi.inc's fans, but during those days Dempagumi.inc was still on the smaller scale and fans enjoyed seeing the growth of the members. Eventually, after years of hard work, Moga got to see fans commenting things like, "Wow, Moga's singing really improved. If people are interested, I think I'll cover Dempagumi.inc in a separate video." Her singing may have been one thing, but many doors opened for Moga once she became an idol. This included being a popular pin-up model, where she even won the Next Grabia Queen Battle competition. She also started showing up in various TV dramas like Kaisoku Shoujo, and even in a Ultraman series called Ultraman Ginga S, as well as commercials and doing a whole bunch of other things. Moga went from being a NEET to becoming nationwide famous. But after around 6 years from when she entered the group, it was announced that Moga was going to leave Dempagumi.inc. The announcement itself was fairly simple, essentially saying that Moga was just going to go it solo. A few years later though, in a YouTube live stream on her channel, for the first time she revealed exactly why she decided to leave Dempagumi.inc. She mentions that in a blog post that she had written, she said she was tired and that it was affecting her health, which is why she decided to leave. But what really happened was that she had gotten depressed, and that at the time of that live stream, she was still struggling. She decided to reveal this because she would often get DMs from fans asking for advice regarding their own struggles with mental health, but Moga didn't really know how to answer them, feeling so much pain herself. She says that she actually wanted to stay in Dempagumi.inc, but she just felt she couldn't keep up. Moga goes on to explain how depression is really misunderstood and that people assume that nothing is actually wrong with her. Despite not feeling to smile or show positivity, she had to because it was her job, and yet there were still haters who said things like they liked Dempagumi.inc but not Mogami Moga. The truth was, while in Dempagumi.inc, she didn't want to know that she had a mental illness because she wouldn't know what to do. There was no way to take time off as there was just one thing after another, but things had just gotten too much for her. In that video though, she does mention going to hospital and undergoing treatment. Within the same year of 2020, Moga would also reveal a couple of other things. First, she came out as being bisexual. Moga says that she always felt like she had to hide it, but feels that loving someone shouldn't be about that person's gender, but the fact that it's them. The other thing that she revealed around the end of that year was that she was actually pregnant with her first child. And no, she didn't get married. In her Instagram post revealing the news, she says that she was thinking more about the future as she had just turned 31 that year and wanted to have a child. She did consult with her friends and family who were supporting her throughout. Moga would give birth to a healthy baby girl the following year. When asked about whether or not she could raise a child while undergoing treatment for her depression, Moga says that if anything, she feels more positive than ever and has a strong will to live thanks to her daughter. She goes on to say she may have sometimes other struggles, but she is nothing like how she was the previous year, surprising even herself. Despite her challenges with mental health, Moga has been able to carry on many of her activities, but now probably at a more easier pace with a much more stronger motivation. Moga regularly posts about her daughter and her other activities on her Instagram. I'll put some links in the usual place. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I've known about Moga for quite a long time now. I actually do remember buying some magazines with her on the front cover, so it's been very interesting for me to research more about her and to discover all these different things that she's been through. Anyway, I do hope that you enjoyed the video. If you do have suggestions, please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, until next time, guys, thank you so much. Take care. Peace.